We all come back to the place that we know, and we all come back and stand just to hear your words come tumbling out, and it's then we understand.
Okay, well, good afternoon and welcome to our second ever Digital Diaries. Following on from yesterday's meeting with Taus, I am delighted to introduce my partner in digital development, Tania Mackie. Welcome, Tania.
Delighted, Mr. Q, and hoping the questions aren't going to be too hard.
Not at all. So the purpose of this really is just more to chat to some of the people across Highland who are making a difference in terms of digital sort of development work, whether it's as a class teacher or a head teacher, or in our case, working in the digital development team. But I thought it'd be good if initially you could just give us a wee background into, I suppose, your sort of potted history in terms of Highland and how you've come to this point just now.
So arrived in Highland, I don't know, about 12 years ago. I'd been working in a secondary school as a outdoor curriculum coordinator, so running a department. Came into primary education. So I was a supply teacher for 2 years. It was brilliant. Learned loads about schools right across all the different areas, and then got headship over at Park Primary School. So I was in Gordon as cluster head for quite a while, then Ben Wivis Primary School as head teacher, your local stomping ground, and then part of the change team. So just over the year ago, went on to the change team to work for head teachers, my colleagues, to see if we could improve education outcomes for young people. And that's morphed into the education improvement team. And I've had the digital hat on ever since I was born. My dad used to run the audiovisual department in the Open University. My brother still works there. So for me, distance learning, digital, ICT, Spectrum computer with the little bricks games, and so then all of the kind of the challenges for COVID-19 happened, and we're here as a team. So our work stream just keeps on developing, really. So it's a good thing.
Perfect. So yeah, really a really varied background to get you to this point. So I mean, in terms of your own digital skills and knowledge, where does that come from? I mean, usually quite often I'll ask, you know, if anybody has done any sort of formal training, whether it's certification, or if you're like me, it's sort of self-taught, if you like. How has your digital knowledge been developed?
I was lucky enough to do a year working with Elizabeth Murdoch at B-Sky B in the press and publicity department, and was schooled very, very quickly in everything digital. Because we were working in that broadcast environment. And equally, I also worked with a production company. So I worked as a research assistant with Discovery, the Discovery Channel. And I worked in South America and London. And so I used, they were basic forms of digital technology as we knew it then. But as the world has evolved, and so is the technology, my knowledge has too. So it's self-taught in a way. I also use a lot of technology at home. And so it's a bit of an interest. And as I've mentioned, my brother runs the ICT kind of support service for the Open University currently, which is based in Milton Keynes. So I have a family who, if I need to pick up the phone, I can. And also my husband also is exceptionally knowledgeable and ran the GIS systems for Scotland Forestry Commission. So there's a whole potted kind of history. I tried to sit, Mr. Q. I did try to sit and do my Google level 1 and 2s, but I'm not very good at sitting and doing that. I'm normally active. So
one day I'll tell you the story about my Google level 1. I got derailed by Google Forms big time. It almost made me fail it, even though the rest of it was quite straightforward. So, in terms of your own, I mean, I know it's difficult for you and I because we're not in a class or a school just now, but
Yeah.
if you were trying to explain what, and this could be hypothetical if you want, or it could be, you know, what was happening before you left Ben Lewis, but what would a school that you were leading look like in terms of digital strategy and, I suppose, digital look more than strategy? What would it actually look like?
So it's a good question, because actually it was way back in 2012 when I met with Louise Jones. When the Chromebooks were just about to come in, I was at South Lodge and I was like, this is amazing. We need everybody to be using G Suite. This is not just a tool we use in the classroom to deliver learning, but this is also a whole school self-evaluation toolkit, all there. It's something that's accessible to everybody. So I already had Google Staff Room. So Google Classroom was my staff room. Put your school improvement plan. I was just moving forwards with that at Ben Wyvis just before I was seconded. So I would see there's schools already that have all their self-evaluation. They have their pupils, their parents, their staff all connected. And I see it as this communication platform with lots and lots of different tools. And also it's inclusive. So there's also tools that we can use to support our learners to make their curriculum more accessible. So I'd invested in additional Chromebooks. Shh, keep that one quiet. And they were there for additional support needs for the ASN teacher to utilise. So it's got a raft. I mean, the possibilities, as far as I can see, are endless in what we can achieve. And the open and transparent kind of nature of what we do with school improvement, what better platform to involve parents and carers in their children's learning. You know, it's outstanding. So I'm on a roll. I keep seeing things that you could do. So, yeah.
So in terms of, I mean, that's kind of pretty much what I was expecting you to say. So in terms of, since we've had lockdown, and it's quite a big question, and obviously, you know, we haven't got all day to answer it because we could talk all day about it. But what are the highlights of the difference that digital learning has made so far in terms of lockdown, and where do you think we go from here?
The one thing I didn't expect was, and it was an offshoot, I think, of something we did with communication. So I think at first, when the highland.gov was really difficult to access, you know, our managed devices, our network, there was real issues. And we moved that Office 365 over to any device. At that point, that opened up a world of opportunity, and I don't want to see that go. I think that's really important that stays. And it's a fundamental basis for how we move forward. Because what it did was we then started to look at communication platforms. So as a head teacher on an inset day, I would juggle my staff, my teaching, my clericals, my PSAs, the training. It would just be inset days for me were never relaxing. I know they're not supposed to be, but they were really challenging. It's like, I've done that meeting, I'm doing that meeting, but I need to do that meeting. And the whiteboard in the staff room never got everybody. So there was always that issue as a head teacher, have you communicated effectively? And the answer is normally no, and it's not because you haven't tried. So for me, when we started using Google Classroom, the head teacher bulletins, that was accessible to like everybody. You know, you've got your phone, you've got your iPad, you've got whatever you've got, and you're finding out about what's going on. But then we're relying on our head teachers to give that communication. Now that's extra workload for them. That's nonsense. So when we created the PSA classrooms and the teacher classrooms, when that PSA classroom hit 300 people in it, I was like, yeah, that's okay. And then we started putting training into it. And then we were suddenly creating this like professional learning platform. When it started to go over 800, I'm Robert, we should be proud of what we've done there, because we've connected, I would say, the majority of pupil support assistants across Highland. That's never been done before in one place, ever. They've got opportunities to professional learning that is supported by the Highland Council. So educational psychology, I've been involved in that. High quality training programs that have an impact. So when we go back in whatever form to whatever we do with education, we've suddenly got this bank of staff who've spent their time dedicated to upskilling, and upskilling not in a negative term, to actually building on their own personal knowledge. That's huge. So that's kind of, I'm quite proud of that. That's really supporting staff. That's made me that's a little bit of feel good factor for us, I think.
Absolutely. And where do you think, I mean, maybe not even aiming quite as far as August, but what's next for the digital development journey, do you think?
Definitely, as one of the leading authorities in Scotland, I would say it's now, we've got a draft strategy about how the secondary model might look, how the primary and early years model might look for a flipped curriculum. And we need to await some Scottish Government guidance on expectation. So that's really important that central message is taken into consideration. But I'd say our next step is building on what we've done as a staff. There's some excellent examples of schools, both primary and secondary, who are engaging their pupils. So what are they doing? How are they doing it? What's the impact? And really focusing on teaching and learning. We need to move, we've built on skills and we're focusing on wellbeing, literacy and numeracy, but we still need to move on learning. So I think, through that strategy, that's going to be our window into how we move in education for the future.
Yep, that's really useful, actually. And that's, I think you're right. We've gone past that point of simply, playing with technology. We now need to make sure the impact is actually clear. What's your favorite? You mentioned it a little bit, but what's your favorite sort of standout? It doesn't even have to be innovation, but what's that one thing that you've seen over lockdown? Because you and I both know we've got some fantastic supporting digital leaders. What's that one thing or two things that you've seen that you've thought, wow, what a difference that's making?
Yeah, okay. So as a change team, we talked about empowerment. Okay, you can talk about it until the cows come home. You can give your definition in a dictionary. You can have a document saying this is what empowerment looks like. And the question that remained for everybody was, but what does that feel like for me, and how does that happen, and what do I need to do to feel empowered? What does that look like in a school setting? What does that look like for a kid? And I see that. So the 3 p.m. digital drop-in, highlight of my day, Monday to Thursday. That's my therapy. But what it's done, it was a platform asking questions, and they're coming in and saying, how do you do this? And not sure about this. And it's a safe environment. But what it also did was it brought together the experts who not necessarily would have been involved in middle leadership or and maybe not even want to be. So from grassroots, we've got folks saying, I can do this and I can help you to do it. And that means you can help somebody else to do it. And suddenly we've built upside down this whole model of support, because we did try, didn't we, Robert? We tried to have a digital leader for the ASG, and everybody went, oh my God, that's workload. Sorry, you have to edit that bit. And we really didn't understand what that meant, because it was a label. It was we need you from the centre to do this. And now it's flipped again. It's now, I can do this, and I've done it for these people, so now I can do it for more people. And suddenly we've got a team of experts across Highland. So it's been, that then is for me, that's a true definition of empowerment, because it's not something we did to somebody. It's somebody who's actually gone, I can do that, and therefore it's happened. So that's been the highlight.
And here's a question that I haven't actually thought about asking, but once we get back to school in the normal sense, whenever that is, do you think that digital drop-in, maybe not every day, would continue?
I would hope so. I think, if we're focusing on the well-being of staff, there is a real need for, if you've got a question, technology can be quite frustrating. You can spend literally hours trying to solve something, and literally a 30-second question with somebody, an answer sharing a screen, or we chat down the side, you've just saved yourself 4 hours of work. Or we share resources and say, it's another sharing platform, isn't it? So no, I'm I'm really keen that would continue in some form. I think it should.
I don't think I've ever heard the expression share screen prior to lockdown. And it's now one of the most common things people say, isn't it? People say it.
That's technically incorrect, Mr. Q. Yes, it's when my computer broke, and then I would just crawl into a corner because someone would share my screen, and generally it didn't go well. So
different type of sharing. I think, I think possibly sharing with colleagues maybe works slightly better.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, well, sort of last couple of questions. I suppose the first one towards the end would be, if someone said to you, as probably you've heard frequently, I just can't get this digital thing. I don't get it, but I'm quite keen to get started. What would your advice be to somebody who perhaps doesn't have the skills or confidence, but actually is willing to give it a go? What would your advice to them be?
I would, if they really are stuck, put them to the hub and saying, have a look at this and watch this is probably no good. I'd probably buddy them up with somebody in their kind of maybe their level, their Google Classrooms with staff together. It's a really good way. I think Bridgend have been doing that. So, Alan McHardy, for instance, he's got I think, is it P6, P7 classroom, but it's a level so that if someone's not confident, they can learn. And I think having that friend who can help, but then you've got your training. So I would then suggest quite strongly that they engage with the basic levels of the Google training that we're offering as a council, moving through that level 1. And then, that opens up a world of possibilities, but it's about asking a question. The digital drop-in does help, but you need to have you can ask questions, but you need to have been engaging using that technology. So for somebody who's having a real meltdown, I would suggest working with someone that they know, or somebody in that associated schools group that can help. One of our digital experts.
Good advice, yeah. And as I say, normally the answer probably would have lent towards digital drop-in, but we've already covered that. So that's even like you're getting a bonus. If you're watching this, you're getting a bonus advice as well. And last question, and it's not one that I'm asking to everybody, but I suppose it's one that I think about a lot. But I guess, how proud are you of where Highland has gone during these last 8-9 weeks in terms of the digital journey?
Extremely. And I think we have to be, we have to recognise the legacy that had before us. So those who had the foresight to invest into technology, into the Chromebook model, we need to be thankful that we had experts who had a vision. Louise Jones, I can't thank her enough. She's been quite an inspiration, actually. She probably doesn't realise it. But what she started off, it has evolved, and we've picked up, and I'm quite proud of the way that we've worked collegiately. We've worked as a team, and we've used each other's skills. So there's never a point at which our digital team goes, "Why have you done that?" Or "That was mine." It is literally it's a team. And so I'm quite proud of that too. So proud of the authority, yes, because it's really clear we are sector leading in Highland, and the conversations we've had out with authority demonstrate that. We're not the only sector leading authority. There are a few others, but a few. So, and I'm proud of our parents and our carers and our pupils and all our staff who have gone and been so creative, because actually you can suggest stuff and you can offer, but it takes people to then do and engage. And we've seen that right across Highland. We've seen resilience, we've seen creativity, we've seen commitment. And so I think it's not just me being proud. I think we should give ourselves a pat on the back in Highland and say it's really challenging, and every day we're coming across tragedy or things that affect us in our daily life. It's been hard. You're a teacher, you're juggling kids yourself, and you're trying to teach. That's really that's not easy. And then putting a curriculum online, which wasn't there, that's been horrendously challenging for some. So yeah, I think we can say in Highland, we're doing all right. More to do. There's always more to do.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Hopefully that's not been too painful. It's been nice just to get the chance to chat and even just find out more. And I deliberately wanted to have you involved quite early on, just so that we've got a mixture of, the people that are transforming digital learning on the ground, but also, the people like yourself and the team sort of leading from a strategy point of view. So thank you so much for giving up your time. Hope the people that are watching this will enjoy and get some sort of, I guess, just some sort of insight into the way that we're looking to drive things in Highland. But thanks again, Tania, and
no problem.
Thanks for joining us on Digital Diaries, and hopefully we'll see you very soon for our next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.